is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Well, let's get back to it.
He thinks he looks good in a bathing suit. He doesn't.
Thanks, Donny. You're the best. So they got that escaped terrorist suspect. Don't you think it's a bit weird that the newspapers, particularly the Daily Mail, they just kept printing that same picture with his shirt off over and over and over again? I mean, there were many pictures that were available. Why did they keep picturing that one? Sexy escaped terrorist. Seems a bit bizarre to me that they picked that one again and again and again. Bit weird. Never mind. Texts and emails from last night. Kath texts, I'm not complaining about the hot weather this week. I've loved it. But I have been making the most of it. But I'm being eaten alive by bugs and have insect bites all over my legs.
Stop whining.
It's funny, though, because I've been anemic the last 2 summers and hardly got bitten at all. I'm not anemic anymore. And now my blood is back up to full spec and the bugs can't get enough of me. They see you and shout, buffet, Kath. This text says, not sure why they're making a big deal over the Legionella bacteria in one barge. Many buildings across the Home Office portfolio often return positive Legionella tests, says a contractor who completes the sampling but remains anonymous. Well, if that's true, then that is alarming. Sam says, my car is covered in sand residue. Even worse, it's filthy foreign sand. And even worse than that, I can't wipe it off as it'll scratch the paintwork. I blame Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You see what you've done? Filthy second-hand air we're getting at the moment.
Disgusting.
Believe that. You'll be sad when it's gone, though. I'm not going to do a full weather forecast because I did that yesterday, but let's just have a little peek, shall we? Wow. 89 degrees tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, 89. And then, but that's in central London. And I would not recommend coming into central London when it's 89 degrees. Got to be awful.
Dreadful.
Really shockingly bad. 79 on Monday. That's better. 70 degrees if you're going to be by the coast. And people in Glasgow will get will get their own weather. Yes, they will. Yeah. Catherine texts, I work for a local authority and book pest control appointments. We've been inundated with wasp bookings in the last month or so. Maybe the profusion of spiders in your area have caught all the wasps in their webs. I don't know if a spider can actually handle a wasp, can it? Maybe not a whole one. Rich texts, I too had a few issues taking out the pesky flies with my death bat. These are all texts and emails from last night. If it doesn't make any sense yet, then don't worry. Nothing following it will either. I had a few issues taking out pesky flies with my death bat. Just like you, I found it doesn't always deliver a sufficient pulse of electricity to finish off the little things. Well, the good news is you can convert your bat from 3 volt, that is 2 AA batteries, to 9 volt, a 9 volt rectangular type battery with very little electronics experience. I've done this, and I can assure you that not even one fly has survived being struck with my uprated version of the bat, nor has any other flying creepy-crawly. This bat would probably down a seagull if you managed to hit it. Well, that's a good idea. It's a very bad idea. Don't do that, everybody. It sounds like a fire risk to me. Plus, the Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds will be furious. Preventing birds is their job. Sam says, I totally agree with you on spiders. I always say, if they want to live and thrive, stay the hell outside. I find them terrifying, but strangely, I don't hate tarantulas so much. They are furry and have little button eyes. Yeah, those are 2 of my least favourite things. Yeah, not for me. No thanks. He says, and don't worry about North Korea and nuclear weapons. Worry about them dropping loads of spiders on us. We'd surrender instantly. Yes, we would. We would run screaming from the building. And Johnny says, trust the end of days find you well. It does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it? The end of days, yeah. He says, with respect to the various insects you mentioned, I also noticed a house bereft of houseflies and wasps. However, I have noticed an increase in butterfly populations. Extrapolating here, perhaps the lack of predatory insects has allowed the butterfly population to swell, which of course means less vegetables for humans going forward. I thought it meant more vegetables. Don't butterflies pollinate? I think they probably do. Well, what do I know? Do I look like an expert on this or anything else?
No.
No. Anyway, I prefer a butterfly than a wasp. Most definitely, yeah. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Middlesex. Isaac.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Right. I've got 2 book titles for Liz Truss's book, right? The first one, right, is How to Run a First World Nation Like a Third World Country.
Yes.
Okay? And the second one is A Masterclass in Incompetence. There you go.
Right. I prefer the first one because it has something about it. The second is just a statement of the bloomin' obvious.
Okay, right. All right, fair enough. I'll work on the second one, all right?
Okay, you have homework. See me after class. Yeah, can you believe this? Liz Truss, hot breaking news. Oh, I can't do that. Have I mentioned that I'm very, very ill?
Stop whining.
Liz Truss is to reveal the inside story of her ill-fated premiership in a book, which will signal her political ambitions remain undimmed, says the Mail. Liz Truss, undimmed. I beg to differ. She's dimmed like a broken bulb. The former Prime Minister, well, you believe that person used to be the Prime Minister of this country?
No.
No, incredible. The former Prime Minister will relive her tumultuous 49 days in office in 10 years to save the West, in which she will argue that Western governments have been captured by the same left-wing orthodoxy which she blames for wrecking her administration. Yeah, that's right, those pesky lefty financiers. In an exclusive interview with the Mail on Sunday, because no one else was interested, on the anniversary of her becoming Prime Minister, Liz Truss offers her most candid reflections ever on her time in Downing Street and admits she still struggles to compute what happened. Yeah, not being able to compute is your defining characteristic, Liz.
I'm genuinely unclear.
Yeah, most of the time. Can't compute. Yeah, that's right. Listen to Zahawi. He can compute.
And 1,
2,
2,
3,
6 million.
No. Don't listen to him. Liz Truss, the Lizbot, launches a passionate defence of herself. It doesn't say that. It says, Liz Truss launches a passionate defence of her own attempted revolution, which died when the markets crashed in the wake of a radical tax-cutting budget. You know, those lefty markets and the lefty hedge funders and lefty bankers. Communists, the lot of them. No! Friends of Jeremy. But she did not did she not contribute to her own downfall, asks the Mail. And her answer to that is, I've said before that I made mistakes on things like communication and execution, but the fundamental problem was there wasn't enough support for conservative ideas, she says. Or in other words, explaining that she had become exasperated by often being, quotes, the only conservative in the room at international summits, she says that the global left were in control. She says ideas like redistributionism, business being bad, the anti-growth people like Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil. Those are the ideas that have made the running in the last decade, she says. Right, okay, from the top. Redistributionism is what Jesus would do. It's what countries do where all the happiest people live. Because it's not just winner takes all, like she and the people who have already won would prefer. And there's no international summit which concluded that business is bad. And the global left aren't in control of anything. Name the billionaire lefty. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, George Soros, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos. The global left are in control. The Republican Party gets 4 times the amount of money that the Democrats do from donors. And the Tories also get 4 times the amount as Labour get from donors. What's she talking about? And Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil aren't anti-growth. they're anti-catastrophe, which marks them out from the Lizbot, who seems to be very pro-catastrophe. Liz Truss is the perfect example of someone who's failed their way to the top and can't quite believe it when her crackpot ideas don't work in real life. So casts around for someone else to blame, because it all worked so well when she was discussing them in Looney Tunes think tanks and scribbling in her little book with luminaries like Dominic Deckchair Raab.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
Yeah, I totally believe you. Why are we entertaining these dimwits? Why are we suffering this parade of inadequates imposed on us by a party that long ago proved that they shouldn't be left in charge of running a bath, let alone a country? And now she's writing a book on her time in office. Blimey, that'll need a lot of padding, won't it?
Absolutely.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Yeah, there's nothing funny about it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I could be appalled, but I think for the benefit of my own sanity, I've decided to be amused. Brighton. Hello, Ben.
Yeah, I've got a few titles, possibly. I mean, some of them are actually titles of previous books. Things Fall Apart, Hard Times, With the Wind, Liz Truss, My Part in My Downfall. A few suggestions.
Yeah.
Might work for her.
I think that last one should be...
I am staggered, actually, that somebody has spent, I went on holiday, I came back and she was gone.
That's right.
How quick she, it was just remarkable.
Yeah, well, a lot of people went into a lift, and by the time they got to the ground floor, there was a new Prime Minister.
It's just so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things which, I was in Spain at the time, and people were looking at me going like, my Spanish mates saying like, is your country all right? I mean, is everything okay out there? Because things look very weird. I mean, they look particularly weird, actually, when me and my cousins were out there. But yes, I suspect this the Liz Truss title thing is going to run and run. You could probably actually hold quite a decent competition, Nick, this evening.
Yeah, well, maybe if people have some good ideas, then that would be an excellent caller or a reason to call. Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, Ben. It wouldn't be Liz Truss, my part in my downfall. It'd be Liz Truss says everybody else's part in my downfall. Not me. I ain't done nothing. Ain't that right, Liz?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Texts and emails from last night. Ross says, heard you mention that there's no wasps this year. We had 3 nests around our small block of flats. An expert came and zapped the nests. I counted 31 wasps on the inside corridor windowsill. Lots kept coming in and were dying off. Some wasps crawled under our front door. Is it safe to sleep yet, he says. No, Ross. Don't close your eyes for a single solitary second. That's just what they want. Johnny says, Robert Jenrick proposes lawyers who coach migrants should face sentences of up to life imprisonment. Fascism is actually here, he says. Shame on this country. I think this country's lost its mind. Or at least the Tories who are contemplating having to actually do something else for a living, they appear to have lost their mind. I mean, they've tried everything and nothing seems to be working. Keir Starmer just stands there doing nothing, and he's got a double-digit lead in the polls. 0345 6060 973. Weybridge, Seema.
Hello, Nick. How are you doing this evening?
I am great, mate.
Okay, I have a request. Can we please stop talking about spiders?
Yes,
exactly. And insects and moths.
Correct.
And I can't sleep. No. I mean, it's so hot. I have to keep my windows open. Mm-hmm. But those things keep coming in.
I know.
So I wanted to talk to you about the bug zooka.
They can find their way in. It's just they can't find their way out again.
No,
how stupid are they?
They're really stupid. They're really stupid.
Yeah, they're prime ministerial material.
Brilliant. Have you come across the bug zooka?
I wonder if Liz Truss can... she could get in a room, she could get in a window.
I know about the bug zooka, do you?
she just wouldn't be able to find her way back out again.
She needs a bug zooka. So, have you come across the bug zooka?
What's a bug zooka?
So, I lived in...
Sounds like the world's worst chewing gum. I don't want any.
No. So I lived in the US for a long time. I moved back home, thank goodness, about 5 years ago. But I bought this Bugzooka with me. So it's a device that's about 2 feet long.
2 feet long.
2 feet long,
Yeah.
and it has a nozzle at the front.
Yeah.
And at the back, I don't know what you call those things, but it's not a pump, but you kind of push it, it cocks, and then you push the button at the end, and then it sucks in whatever you put it over. It's a Bugzooka. So you put this over spiders or moths or whatever, and you cock this thing, and it just goes, and it sucks them in. And then you
Suction
can humanely
power.
let them out.
Yeah. Humanely, you could...
Humanely.
Now, do they
So
do they go out at, like, maximum velocity?
No, because the moths just come back in because they want to come back towards the light.
Right.
Which is really frustrating.
No, but when you
So
suck it in your Bugzooka, when you push the plunger, then do they fire out the end of it?
No, then you have to take the top off and let them out and hope to God that they'll go in the right direction.
No.
So last night the spider, the daddy long legs, and one of the moths did go in the right direction, but the other moth came flying back at my face.
Right. You know those spiders and moths, they're homing. They're
Oh, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. Please don't.
They're just they
Nick,
nipped around.
It's hot tonight. I need to keep my windows open.
Yeah,
Please don't.
They nipped around the corner, and they're considering their options, and they'll be back in ever greater numbers.
You're a very bad man. I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Okay, well, I wish you all the best. Thanks a lot, Seema. Another satisfied customer. Mike says, as usual, I've been listening avidly to your every word, but I must take issue with you regarding your efficacy of conkers against spiders. Oh, I did mention that doesn't work last night. He says they are very effective, but as with mothballs against moths, you need to have a very good aim. Ross says, read that. Alex says, if I were a teenager now, I'd be over the moon that my school is falling down. No more school. I'm thinking that this might be the regime's tactic to encourage the youth vote in the next election. If we're allowed to have another election, that is, due to it not being the time on grounds of national security. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be remotely surprised if, and I have said this before, and it seems inconceivable, but then everything else that's happened lately also seems inconceivable, doesn't it? I do harbour a fear that the regime will cancel the next election for our safety. They'll find some reason to, postpone it at the very least. They're just doing us a favour. Appreciate it, Rishi.
Thank you.
Doing excellent work. Whatever it is you do. Archway, James.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Nice to speak to you. Now, this is advice on insects. Now, if an insect bites you, all you've got to do is use antiseptic cream.
Antiseptic cream.
Cream, that's right. Now, the other thing is, if you get a bite from an insect, and there's a gap within the arm, and you might get 3 lumps in the arm, they're blisters, then if that happens, you will have to go on antibiotics and a cream.
Well, let me ask you this, James. What do you know about it?
Well, that's exactly what happened where I was concerned.
You had 3 lumps on your arm, and you had to go on antibiotics and cream.
Yes,
right.
Because once it spreads, then they've got to deal with it.
Right.
Because it can go up to your forehead, it can go any other place, it has to be dealt with. But if it doesn't spread, that's a different matter. That would be an ordinary insect bite. But, you have got to put up with those little things.
Well, you sound like an expert, James, and I appreciate the input. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Does anyone have any idea what that was about?
No.
Something about lumps. Speaking of which, Boris Johnson wrote a column in the Mail today. And my favourite part were the comments afterwards. But it was full of the usual untruths that we have become used to from the Bodge. Liar! Exactly. So I'll get into that in a minute. 0345 6060 973. Tom says, These are texts and tweets from last night. Jeremy Corbyn has broken this country over the last 13 years. Public debt is higher than ever. Taxes are the highest since World War II. Schools and hospitals are crumbling, and it's not even half of it. I can't wait for the Tories to get into power and save us from Corbyn's mess. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. No! Meddler. Marty says, I can't decide who's the most masculine. Rishi Sunak or Gavin Williamson? Well, let's put that to the test.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
That's Gavin Williamson. And this is Rishi Sunak.
It's the country's number one priority.
I don't know. It's very, very difficult to put a riddle paper between the two of them, isn't it? Who is the more masculine? Rishi Sunak?
It's the country's number one priority.
Or Gavin Williamson?
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
I actually think on that evidence, it's Rishi Sunak. And he would only win a masculinity contest against Gavin Williamson. I think that is actually true. I had that thought before, Marty. Rose texts, voting essential. We're ruled by the kind of very rich people who genuinely believe themselves genetically superior and therefore deserving of whatever they want. This is an ethic which replaces truth and kindness, etc. They know that they're entitled to lie in order to get what they want and that this is the right thing to do. They're not ashamed if found out. P.S. Stop with the killing. For goodness sake, what harm can a spider do? Just let it out. Well, it shouldn't have come in the first place. And what harm can it do? Well, it can rob me of my sleep for a start. Like that nice lady I was just talking to. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, good luck with your voice tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, a couple of bits. This book of Liz Truss's, I hope there's a section in it explaining how she managed to sell British farming down the tube with her Australia and New Zealand deals. Even Eustace excused himself from it afterwards or distanced himself.
Yeah.
How can you specifically explain that?
Well, I think that there will definitely be room in a book for her to explain all sorts of things. Half of it will probably be a colouring book. or just empty pages left blank for your own thought.
Yeah, something like that. The other thing is something that slipped under the radar this week, and the government announced that they spent $500,000 servicing the death barge in August with nobody on it.
Servicing it?
Yeah, just maintaining it. Docking charges and electricity and everything, all the other bits, and the buses waiting to take people away. And they spent $500,000 in August, and they announced this themselves.
Yeah.
But with the prison breaks, it sort of slipped under the radar.
It is the world's most expensive way to save money. Yeah.
Madness. But then a personal question, if I can. Well, a question you might be the only one who knows the answer to.
Yeah.
You know Charles Feldman, who we have on a Sunday, who's brilliant?
Yes, the American correspondent, yeah.
Yeah, is he a personal friend of yours, or
No.
did he come with a recommend, or how did you get hold of him? The guy's great.
He is good. Charles Feldman from America, who's on a radio station in Los Angeles, and about 12:30 on Sundays, on my Abnormal Normal show, the format show, there I talked to him about the latest American happenings, and he is very good. Now, the producer has a list of potential correspondents, and he was one of them. And unlike the Friday and Saturday night shows, the Sunday show is produced, so that they put all that together.
Yeah, well, it's good wherever he was.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, the empty vessel moored off the Dorset coast, supposed to house 500 migrants. Only 39 moved onto the barge last month before moving right off again. Figures from the non-profit organisation Reclaim the Sea show hiring out the vessel and keeping it at Portland port amounted to £24,500 a day.
What?
That's £560,000 over 4 weeks. £500,000 for 4 weeks for an empty boat. Over £560,000 could have been used to employ 20 asylum decision makers at the Home Office for a whole year. In just 1 month, 20 asylum decision makers could clear 80 claims, double the amount of people who were on that barge. But the government isn't interested in doing that. They're interested in just throwing our money away and claiming us they're doing us a favour. There's estimated to be 51,000 asylum seekers currently in hotels across the UK, having gone up by 3,000 since the end of March. And Rishi Sunak is insisting that he's gripping it.
I'm gripping it.
Yeah, he's gripping it. Last month, the Home Office revealed more than 175,000 people are waiting for a decision on their asylum application, taking the cost of managing the backlog to almost £4 billion. Not million, billion. A Home Office a spokesman said, the Home Office is committed to making every effort to limit the burden on the taxpayer. Yeah, in other words, black is now white and up has been reclassified as down, and anyone who thinks otherwise will be sent for re-education.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, sure, why not? Liz Truss book titles. John says her book should be number 10 for dummies. Shane says, it's me or the lettuce. And Chris says, a title for Truss, Britannia Unhinged. That's my favourite so far. Chingford, hello, John.
Oh, hello, Nick. I must say, you have the most engaging, welcoming assistants.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the people who take the calls, they're wonderful. I phoned another LBC station. It's like having Bella Lugosi. What do you want? You know, so, no, your guys are great.
Okay, good to know. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, by the way, is your cold gone?
No, not really. I mean, it doesn't feel like a cold, and it didn't ever feel like a cold. I think it might have been the thing. And I seem to be still. I sound like I've got a cold, but it doesn't feel like I've got one.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did say before garlic tablets. Since I've been taking high-strength garlic, I haven't had a cold for 15 years, would you believe?
Yeah, or a friend.
No, it's not like that. They don't. Made me laugh. No, they don't actually. You know, once you swallow them, you don't get the. It's not like eating garlic, if you will.
Right.
The other thing, I mean, because autumn begins Tuesday, so get Ranger to give you his recipe for tarka dal. That'll keep the colds away.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that. But anyway.
No, it's just autumn comfort food.
Yeah.
Anyway, you never listen to what I say, so I keep trying. But last night you mentioned about Jeremy Corbyn becoming Mayor of London, which I agree with you. I think he'd make a wonderful London mayor, and get him back on the standard ground of politics. But I don't think he'll contest his own seat, I think.
That would be a better idea, yeah. If he runs for London mayor, then he's just going to do the left trick of splitting the vote so that the Tory will then step nimbly over their prone forms.
And they've got such a dreadful candidate as well, the Tories. I mean, I can't think of anybody with any less charisma. I can't remember her name, but it's dreadful.
There it is in a nutshell. Can't remember her name, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just I've seen her on the television. It's just dreadful. I mean, but I mean, it looks like I wonder if Murdoch will actually back Starmer, because all Starmer's latest sort of policies seem very Murdoch friendly, really, and Murdoch does not like to back losers.
Well, what Murdoch tends to do is just back whoever is likely to win, and then claims the victory as it's me what done it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually backs Labour. I think the next election will be next October.
Yeah, if we get one, yeah. If we're not under a massive...
Richie's going to hold it out to the wire, and he isn't going to want it to be in cold weather, the winter, 'cause a lot of the oldies, myself included, might not be able to get out to vote.
Well, that's the thing about old people. They will vote no matter what the weather is like. It's the young people that can't be bothered, so I don't think it matters what day of the week or month of the year it is. I think it has no relevance at all to the oldsters, because they will vote regardless. And the Tories can be absolutely confident about that. It's just, will they vote in sufficient... Will they live that long? is the question that is must be uppermost in their minds. All right, good work. Thanks, John. 0345 6060 973. Steve says, do you think that the government machine might be allowing councils to go bankrupt in an attempt to privatise councils and have them taken over by foreign shareholders? It sounds like the stuff of conspiracy theories, but I don't think it's too far-fetched after the sale of all our public services to the private sector. This privatisation troubles me greatly. I want to see full-scale renationalisation of all public services. What do you think? Says Steve. Well, it doesn't sound like the stuff of conspiracy theories, but they're just hiving it off bit by bit, aren't they? I mean, there used to be the bin persons were employed by the council. Now they're employed by, God, I've got absolutely no idea who. Probably some a German company run by billionaires. And they just hive off all the little bits of it, slicing them off for private profit. Simon says, please tell that man who won't vote. This is from yesterday. He says, please tell that man who won't vote. I said, thanks a lot, idiot. Considering I will be voting Labour, and by him not voting, it's a vote for Tories by default. He will cancel out my vote, says Simon. I'm not sure about the logic of that. Thus wasting my time and effort, he says. He may want to live in a third world country, but I'm sick of it. Yes. Yeah, he's sick of being sick of it. Exactly. 0345 6060 973. North Carolina, Graham.
I have a 4-inch spider that's hanging out my window.
Oh, my God.
Ogling the fly strip that's hanging from the window, thinking he's going to come through and get him. Now, yesterday, I watched him, and he's been there for quite a long time. I watched him yesterday eating his dinner. He caught a fly, and he was chomping on it.
Oh.
You know, it's great. It's like there's a bird bath right below that and a bird feeder, and, you know, it's like watching nature.
Yeah.
Now, we have these things called, I think they're called nodes, N-O-D-E, and they're little lizard creatures that turn colors. If they're on the green leaf, they're green. If they're on a piece of wood, they're brown. And I had a mulch pile, a compost bucket on the porch one time, and this node was hanging around the corner, you know, where nobody could see him. And when a fly dropped into the mulch, he'd snatch it. It was great. It was terrific. It was like a mouse catching a rat. You know, it was fun. Titles of books. My 15 Minutes of Infamy. And it's funny that you should say that there should be blank pages. That's what I thought. And it seems to me that a while back, there was an American author who wrote a book, or a comedian that wrote a book with blank pages. I can't remember who that was. But it's a bit like Clint Eastwood talking to the empty chair at the one of the conventions.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
And lastly,
and finally,
you know, enough with these progressive radio broadcasters you're talking to every Sunday. I want to be your redneck correspondent, but I'm not sure I qualify because I've probably got more English blood in me than half the folks that call.
Well, leave that with me, Graham, and I'll think about it.
I mean, I can stir up some great trouble, you know.
Oh, I don't
good radio.
I don't doubt it for a second.
I got good.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it, but the answer is it's no.
Yeah, probably no. I get it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't have the credentials.
No. All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Graham. Just giving us another excellent reason not to go to North Carolina. A 4-inch spider. Stop talking about insects. Simon says, no, read that. Laura says, this is the reason the monarchy is a waste of time. This is a text from last night. I have no idea what we were... I don't remember we were talking about the monarchy yesterday. Anyways, she says, this is the reason the monarchy is the waste of time. The king and queen have no influence of running the government. All the king does is run up and down the country in his kilt with his, with his horse. Well, I don't know. Is that factually accurate? Is that all the king does? Run up and down the country in his kilt with his horse? Nick says, all these people who hate the government and clean air and fresh water so much, why don't they go and live in space? Not the government, the environment. All these people who hate the environment and clean air and fresh water so much, why don't they go and live in space, says Nick. Yeah, good point, Nick. Why can't they just leave us alone? What's really bizarre is, and it does indicate that the human race is up for extinction, is that there's a significant number of us who think that protecting the environment is woke. Yeah. Or in other words, yeah, I think the human race has had its chance and it blew it. Woke. That's actually true. Bermondsey, Lavinia Grace.
Oh, hi, Nick. Hi. Lovely to hear your lovely voice.
Is it?
Yes, it's always lovely to hear your voice. Well, what I'd like to say to you, okay, the last sort of time I spoke to you, some time ago, if I remember rightly, I actually said to you, everything is crumbling around us.
Yeah.
So this is how I feel.
Talk about foresight.
Sorry?
Talk about foresight.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But you know what's been going on in my mind over and over again, Nick? All right? I need to tell you this.
I
because you
can't
might better help me.
begin to imagine. Go ahead.
Now, listen to this, right? There's this song, right? And I think it was out in the 60s.
Yeah.
Is it by the Hermits? I don't know, but can you tell me?
You're asking me what the song in your head is?
No, I'm going to sing it to you.
I can't hear it. Put your head closer to the phone.
I'm going to sing it to you now, right? 1, 2, 3. When my feet begins to crumble.
Oh, no, we've run out of time on that call. Gosh, I hate when that happens. It was... I can't remember. But anyway, whatever it is what it is. That's just a fact. Somebody will know. Concrete and Clay. I bet it's Concrete and Clay, isn't it?
Correct.
Concrete and Clay. Betcha, betcha, betcha. Now, who's it by? Dave D. Dokie Beaky Doodly somebody in Titch. Dave D. Dozy Beaky Mick and Titch. Was it Dave D. Dozy Beaky Mick and Titch and Concrete and Clay? If it was, I get maximum points. I'm a winner. My glamorous assistant is checking that out right now. Concrete and Clay by Unit 4+2. Like I said. Concrete and Clay. Is that what did I say Concrete and Clay?
You did say Concrete and Clay.
I said Concrete and Clay, so I was half right, which sounds about 60% to me. 60% accuracy on this show. I was half right. There you go, Lavinia Grace. You ask and I solve instantaneously. Now, what's this one called?
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk, talk.
Potential titles for Liz Truss's new book. Stu says The Joy of Liz. Howard says UK, My Part in Its Downfall. Perry says Let Us Be Friends. Jay says if Liz Truss's book came out as an e-book, would it just crash when you tried to read it? Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah. Glasgow, Gerard. Oh, Gerard. Gerard has put the phone on the table, and when he realises there's a 7-second delay, will be with us almost instantaneously. Here he comes. Yes, Gerard.
Hello there.
Yes, sir. Hello there.
Is it me? Is it my Gerard you're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I want to talk to you about 2 films you keep recommending.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
And Idiocracy.
Idiocracy, yeah.
Fantastic.
Aren't they?
Now, I have got one I would chuck into that to make it a wee kind of threesome.
Yeah.
And it's called Simon.
Simon?
Yeah, it's starring... Have you heard of it?
Well, who's in it?
Alan Arkin and Madeline Kahn.
Oh, well, I like Alan Arkin.
Yeah, and it's Madeline Kahn's in it. It's both of them, and it's a good enough film for me. That's fantastic. I'm a bit of an obscurity. I haven't heard of it. It's fantastic. Anyway, it's about a group of boffins who live in some kind of campus somewhere in America.
Don't tell us.
What? No, I'm not going to give you the punchline.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that. No, I am going to stay clear of that.
Yes.
I'm just going to give you the scenario.
Right.
There's a group of boffins who live in some campus somewhere in America, and they have solved the world's problems, totally solved them. Everything's solved, famine, everything, so they get bored.
Yeah.
And what happens is...
Okay, well, don't tell us that next part. Just leave us...
Well, I am not going to tell the punchline.
I bet you are.
I am not going to tell... I am not that stupid.
Well, don't tell us the punchline, but don't tell us any of the plot twists. Just tell us to watch it. Just say watch it. Just say...
Basically, yeah, that's fine.
Right,
I've told you that already.
Simon, okay.
I was saying no more about that film, but I would recommend it. It's called Simon, starring Alan Arkin and Madeline Kahn. It's brilliant.
Put it on my list. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Gerard. 0345 6060 973. Those two films that he mentioned, by the way, were comedies about a dystopian future, which turn out to be documentaries about the present. Don't Look Up, which is very, very good, and has pretty much every star you've ever heard of in it. And it's Opposite, which is, I think it's funny, but it's the guy who did Beavis and Butthead. So if you like that sort of goofy humour, then it'll be right up your alley. And it's called Idiocracy, about a future in which the stupids have outbred the smarts with ruinous results. Does that ring any bells?
Absolutely.
Yes, it does. Rebecca says, have you seen that the Chancellor wants to cut benefits in real terms to fund a tax reduction before the general election? I hope every affected person will arrange for a postal vote and eliminate the additional votes the government thinks it's going to get for this. Yes. What kind of people are these? This is the chap who... I don't know whether he actually has eyelids. I've never seen anybody's eyes bug out from their head quite as much as Jeremy Hunt's. It's like somebody's pulling the skin of his face behind, like he's like he's got one of those hair gripper things, and it's got the skin at the back of his head, and it's just... He also permanently surprised. Anyway, Jeremy Hunt is weighing up plans to cut benefits to free up cash for tax cuts before the next general election. How totally Tory is that? They're not even hiding the evil anymore. They're glorying in it, taking from the poor to give to the rich. It's also, what would Jesus do? The Chancellor is considering breaking with the normal practice of lifting benefits in line with inflation to give him more room for manoeuvre. As says the Times, the move is likely to be contentious because the government has already said that it will maintain the triple lock on pensions, the mechanism that ensures that the state pension rises by whichever is higher from the increase in average earnings, inflation, or 2.5%. Next year, it's expected to rise in line with average wages, meaning it's going to increase by about 8%. And the reason he won't touch pensions, of course, is that pensioners are pretty much the only demographic that vote Conservative anymore. It's the oldsters that gave us Brexit and 13 glorious years of Conservative rule.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Grandad. So if you won't touch pensions, that means that everyone else on benefits, which includes about 40% of those who are in work, of course, but are paid so little that they can't cope. You know, those people enjoying the high-wage, high-skill economy that we've heard so much about from the regime.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Benefits usually rise in line with September's inflation figure, which is expected to be just over 7%, but the Treasury is expected to point to the fact that inflation is expected to be far lower in April of next year when the increase comes into effect. You know, as though that's going to make any difference to prices. The cost of living isn't going to go down when inflation drops. It'll still be going up, just less quickly. I imagine that Jeremy Hunt knows that. He's just hoping that you don't. I mean, how basic a maths question is that? If inflation gets lower over time, it doesn't mean that prices are going to go down. The price of everything now is the new normal. It just depends, the rate of inflation depends on how much faster it goes up. Ain't going down. The government is drawing up plans to cut the benefits bill by encouraging hundreds of thousands of people with mobility and mental health problems to look for work. And by encouraging, they mean... yeah. Ministers own benefits of £250,000 in expenses and the ability to pay their own family members out of taxpayers' money and the subsidised food and booze that they enjoy courtesy of us poor dopes who pay taxes. That will remain unchanged. No drop in their income because they're worth it. they're saying this out loud now, as opposed to just before the next general election, thinking, "Hey, we've just found a magic money tree. Let's give some away because that's just what the Conservative Party does." No, they're telling us they're going to take from the poor and they're going to give away to the rich in the form of tax cuts just before the next general election as a bribe to get you to vote for them. You're not supposed to say that part out loud. You're supposed to pretend that that's not what you're doing. But I just don't think they care anymore. There is a certain end-of-term feeling about the regime at the moment, isn't there? And, and as a society, we should be judged on how we treat our least well-off. And on that score, not exactly covering ourselves in glory, are we? James says, this thing with Woking, this is the council, I think. He says, I bet the developers got paid, and I'm sure a few people have gotten rich. Now the borough will need bailing out just so rubbish can be collected. I'm not a socialist, but thinking about our failing energy and water, something smells fishy. Yeah, something definitely smells fishy.
I am totally 100% on it.
Don't worry, he's 100% on it. 0345 6060 973. Durham. Hello, Margaret.
Hi, Nick.
Margaret.
Just a little aside for you that might be useful. It's autumn. It's conference time, and with apologies to Keats, I have my own little version of the Ode to Autumn with reference to the Conservatives. And it goes like this. Season of lists and dreadful truthfulness, close bosom friend of the metropolitan elite. End of first verse.
How many verses are there?
I could do more, but I've had too much wine.
Oh, a little bit too much wine.
Booze.
Right,
just enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Excellent work. That was a poem. That was like 2 lines. Did it rhyme? I'm not sure. I know that some poems don't rhyme, but those are bad poems. That's just true. 0345 6060 973. Paul says, so, let me get this straight. A guy in prison for terror offences ends up working as a chef, escapes via a truck, and the Met chief says that we think this was planned. The Foreign Secretary went on television and said more prisoners escaped when Labour was in power. Yeah. Which is actually, you'll be unsurprised to learn, not true. Liar! Yeah, it wasn't true. I mean, what's that noise? It depends very much on when you... I just can't be bothered. I see yesterday's show for further details. By the way, we stick the Friday and Saturday night shows up the internet as a podcast. We take the news and most of the ads out. Mostly. So it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. But by that method, you will do your bit to save the environment. But it won't make no never mind because it's too late. Have you seen the news? Good grief. But it's called Nick Abbot The Whole Show Podcast. If you've got one of them stupid smart speakers, that is the magic phrase. Play Nick Abbot The Whole Show Podcast. It's available on Global Player. If you haven't got Global Player, then you can get it from globalplayer.com or your favourite app store, whichever that store might be. It'll be there. Trust me. Play Nick Abbot The Whole Show Podcast. That's what it's called. Now... let's see. 40 Days and 40 Frights is it's a Liz Truss book titles. And my new favourite at the moment, Pat texts, Honey, I Shrunk the Economy. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello.
and I can't stand him.
0345 6060 973. Let's commence this hour with a call in or from Glasgow. Robert.
Oh, good evening.
Yes, Robert. All right, mate.
I telephoned last night. I called you last night about your forecast for Glasgow.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a slight altercation. You asked me, would I bet on it raining or would I bet on it being sunny?
Yes.
And you said I chose the sunny, and you said no. Well, it was sunny all day.
Nonsense.
It was 27 degrees Celsius.
Rubbish,
And
man.
Yes, you could check it. I know you don't like homework, but you can check it. It's 18 degrees just now, and I'm sweating.
Okay, I'm looking at my app at the moment. It says it's going to be raining. When is it going to be raining? One moment, please. It's going to be raining at 4 o'clock, and then for the rest of your life, tomorrow.
Yes, probably, but that wasn't what you said last night. That was you said it was going to be raining today, and your app was...
I don't know. There's no evidence that I said anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
You can't prove it. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. You're going to have misty tonight, and then raining tomorrow and raining on Monday, and sunny on Tuesday. Pfft, rubbish. And then raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, raining Friday, raining on Saturday, raining on Sunday, raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and then raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining on Friday. Okay, so it might not have rained today, so you say. I mean, I'd need positive proof of that. But it will be raining tomorrow and every single day for the rest of your life. Don't you worry about that. There's no danger of you drying out. 0345 6060 973. Sorry. Titles for Liz Truss's book. Steve says, How to Lose Money and Confuse People. Pat says, Totally Trustworthy. How I chewed through the straps and made it to the top. Isn't that terrible?
That is a disgrace.
A disgrace. Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself, Pat. How I chewed through the straps and made it to the top. That's a new winner. Let's see now. Harrow, Jonathan.
Yeah, hello, Nick. Hi.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a new boy on the phone today? Because the usual one that I speak to, this one asks me a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
Not to complain.
Like what?
No, I'm not complaining, but I thought the voice sounded different for the usual boy. I did.
The usual boy. Yeah, right.
Look, this country now, we are at the edge of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I'm financially teetering. I'll give you a quick example. There is no tradesman in this country, and I had 2 bulbs and 1 light fitting that was rotting. And one of the electrical companies, they said it would be £285 plus VAT.
What?
And so, of course, I rejected this offer, and I got a very surly one who came yesterday at 8 in the morning, so I had to wake up at 7 a.m.
Why?
Now,
Why?
Because he said that's the only time he could do.
No, but why did you have to get up an hour before he got there? What, to make yourself look good?
No, because I have the bathroom, the bowel movement in the morning.
Happy morning sit down. It's the best way to start the day. Yeah.
I can't help it. And then no, it's true. And then I'm not a troublesome person, but he was an English guy. I'm not a racist, but I then said to him, if you would do some cleaning for me, and he got very angry. I'm being serious.
You said to an electrician, can you do some cleaning for me?
No, because he was charging a lot anyway, obviously cash in hand, because it's all dodgy, and I said, and then he said to me, do I look like a cleaner and all of this? So he left, and I went for a walk, and I'm being serious now. In this country now, it's such poverty. I told you, I voted for the Boris twice.
Yeah.
And Rishi is in India on the holiday again. And I was walking around, and in the morning who the main peoples are now?
Who?
It was just the drug addicts.
Just
No,
you and the drug addicts.
Want to score some pot?
Right.
And I'm in such financial ruin, I have to think of selling my car. And it's BMW. And I was at the petrol station, and there was a woman who said hello to me. And I'm sorry to say this, but I only realized midway through she was a drug addict, and she was doing a solid movement on the petrol forecourt.
Oh, that's just way too much information, Jonathan.
Can I quickly tell you something about the Tony Blair? Please.
Okay, then. As long as it's got nothing to do with motions on the garage forecourt. Go on.
Because I like you, Nick, no offence to you.
Yes, but
neither of us are spring chickens.
Right.
And I'm obese. You say you go to the gym.
Well, I don't really. They keep emailing me all the time. Hey, we miss you. Come back to the gym. Have you thought about exercising your wobbly person? Try walking over here for a bit. Words to that effect. Rude.
Yeah, because I'm bald and I'm obese.
Yeah.
And I went to the first time to a boxing gym in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not the Tony Blair point, by the way. An angry Sri Lankan, I'm not a racist, but immediately he took a dislike to me, and we did some exercise, and he put me on my ass. He knocked me down.
Right.
And then I came back, and I'm already feeling low. He had a very bad attitude, and, sort of walkie-talkie all of this person.
Okie-dokie.
And this is really killing this country. And I came and I started watching the TV.
You were wait a minute. You were washing the television.
Yeah, and there was a documentary, I was saying, and it was on the Tony Blair. And under him, everything was perfect.
Is that true?
No, because he came in the power in 97 when I was doing better financially, because I'm teetering on bankruptcy. Yeah. And there was him and Don Prescott, who is fat, and he's quite common. No, but now listen to me. It was the country was perfect under them. It was everything operated, and forget about the Iraq and the alleged war crimes.
That is very, very true. Yeah.
Everything, and now all they have left from the Tony Blair wing, and I know you like him because you talk about him positively, but the Sadiq Khan. Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because you Wokies, on the one hand you like Sadiqi, but on the other hand you like Jeremy Corbyn. So if they stand against each other, who will you vote for?
I would hope that they don't stand against each other, because that's the left's trick of splitting the vote so that the Tories would win.
Because there used to be a vegetable shop in Tooting where they had a religious festival, and I saw him give a speech in 2006.
In a vegetable shop?
No, above a vegetable shop. It is a small temple. And he's got grey hairs and he's very angry. He's an angry little man. It's true. And I know the Wokies, that's true. And I know the Wokies like him because he says all of the right things.
Yeah.
But listen, we need a change in this country because I have got no cleaners now. The BMWs on the garage. And can I just end by saying I'm on the brink of bankruptcy like this country, and Rishi Sunak is again on a big holiday. Yeah. So my bank account, I would never say this, but it's number 538103.
Right.
It's a Metro bank account.
What's your PIN number?
I'll tell you the account number. Seriously, if your listeners can...
Exactly what they'll do. They'll be on their mobile phones straight away, seeing if they can give you some money straight into your bank account. Okay, good work, Jonathan. 0345 6060 973. Did you bleep that?
Oops, sorry.
Did you dump that?
I dumped his number.
Yeah, he dumped his the account number. So unfortunately, the boy through the glass has just made it possible that he will teeter financially. He's on the edge in more ways than one. 0345 6060 973. Let's have, let me see now, Toronto. Michael.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Nick, I want to revert to spiders.
Oh.
We heard your various pleas over the years about not liking spiders. So when your birthday came around, we sent you a super spider catcher. But we don't know if you got it or not.
Yeah, that was you, was it? You're from Canada, you sent that.
Yeah, well, no, I signed into that place in the UK where you can sort of order stuff and it arrives the next day.
Yeah. No, it's I was talking about this yesterday. It's a grabby hand thing. It's like one of those. It's like a thing that people use to pick up litter. Like at the end of a stick, it's got filaments that go wide and then close over the offending creature. And I haven't actually tried it out yet, but
well. It should have come with a plastic sort of try-it-out spider.
Oh, no, it did not. No. That would have been alarming.
Well, try a frozen pea or bean or something, see how it works.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's, good work. Thanks a lot, Michael. Yeah. For my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
So...
Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Titles for Liz Truss's book. Jeff says, The Day I Killed the Queen. And like many others are available. I'll get to them in a while. I have to read them through, though, first. I can't read them straight onto the air, because otherwise, chaos may ensue.
Warning, warning.
Don't do that. Read them through first. Leave it with me. There will be a short pause. I was concentrating on something else.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Kath texts, Dominic Cummings doesn't need to go to Specsavers. He's driven to Barnard Castle instead. I can't remember what that was about. These are today's texts now. I'm actually on today's text and we're still in the first half of this show. Can you believe that? Speaking of Dominic Cummings, did you see he's set to create a new party to take power in 2028 in order to replace what he called the rotten Tory horror show. Who can he be talking about? Not Mr. Integrity, surely.
This government will have integrity.
And accountability and professionalism. Yeah, we know. We know you're lying about that. Boris Johnson's former chief advisor, 51, Dominic Cummings, wants to launch the party, which he is temporarily referring to as the Startup Party, by Christmas. Jesus' birthday! A new party for Christmas. If he keeps the receipt, he'll be able to exchange it for something more popular. In a series of blogs posted on his online Substack, Cummings said it was time to build up a startup to replace the rotten Tories and win in 2028. He praised the Prime Minister as having the highest IQ in Parliament, but he said he'd effectively given up leading the country and had wasted the Tories' 80-seat majority from 2019. Yeah, I'm not sure it's a compliment to say someone has the highest IQ in Parliament. I mean, look at the competition for a start. And second, having a high IQ only means that you do IQ tests well. It doesn't mean you have empathy or foresight or a plan or any leadership ability. In fact, just like Dominic Cummings. I mean, the man's a total wonk. He may be bright, but he's not very good with people. And I don't know, I think politics is a people thing. The former head of Vote Leave campaign said he believed that Rishi Sunak would lose the next general election. Well, yeah, I take it back. The man's a genius. I mean, who would have predicted that with any certainty, after seeing that the Tories are so low in the polls, that, I mean, they'd have to master limbo dancing to go lower. He wrote, already I'm getting messages from MPs and donors. How do we build the party after the inevitable? Can we have a quiet chat, they say. He says, no more excruciating Tory dinners. No more X is obviously not up to it, but maybe we could build a team around them. Oh, God, pass the red, he says.
Booze.
Yeah. He says, no, plough the old Tory party into the earth with salt. I prefer the calls that start, come on, it's time for a start-up party, let's go. Yeah, who's calling them up to say that? Give us the names, Dom. I mean, they're going to have to break cover pretty quick if you want to start a new party in 3 months. Just one name. No?
No.
No. He said, this is the time to start building the replacement so that from 2020 from 10 o'clock on election night in October to December 2024, the old party is buried and a new set of people with new ideas start talking to the country and can take over in 2028 and give voters the sort of government that they want. Dominic Cummings. The sort of government they want and deserve. You know, the Tories have scraped the bottom of the barrel and they've gone through the bottom of the barrel and digging ministers out of the ground below now. I mean, where are they going to find these fresh faces with new ideas? I mean, what ideas, you might wonder? What ideas will this new party have, you might be thinking? Well, wonder no longer. Because in terms of policies for his new party, Cummings outlined the following: being tougher on crime and illegal immigration, and pledged to pull us out of the European Convention on Human Rights, which is exactly what the Tory government are saying they're going to do now. I'll sum it up for you. More lash. He says he wants new people, new ideas and new machines, hoping for most of those involved to have no background in Westminster. Instead, he wants to recruit those from small businesses and with knowledge of technology. And I seriously doubt you're going to get a lot of technology business persons whose aim in life is to be tougher on crime and restrict immigration. When Cummings entered number 10 in 2019, says the Mail, he was best known for his role masterminding the Vote Leave campaign during the 2016 EU referendum and coming up with Take Back Control as a slogan. Yeah, how's that going, by the way?
Fabulous.
I mean, this is the genius who claimed that he drove a car with his family on board to test his eyesight during a COVID lockdown that the government he worked for imposed. And now he wants to be our leader.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yeah. And the Times reports a top Tory critic saying that the plan is yet more mad ramblings from a narcissistic egomaniac who is thankfully becoming an increasing irrelevancy. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with a top Tory.
What?
Yeah. The delusion is strong with that one. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Cheshire. John.
Oh, hiya.
Hello, John.
How's things?
Yeah, not bad.
I'm having a laugh listening to all this. You know...
You've got two choices, laughing or crying. Pick one.
With the government crying.
Crying.
Listening to you laughing.
Right, okay.
But, what's the name of the book for Trust?
John, stop fiddling with your phone. What is that noise?
I was just being fiddling. Sorry about that. I put the country in a trust. I don't know. But Rishi Sunak's gone over to India. I saw him greeting Modi like he was his long-lost uncle.
Yeah.
Got him, giving him big hugs. And Modi's after wanted to bring more Indians into the
Yeah, that's
UK.
going to be a part of their deal, that we are going to crawl across a carpet and beg them to sign.
Well, that's the end of the Tory government for the next election. Because all the racists who voted for Brexit, they're going to be laughing their socks, so happy to see more and more people from Indian descent coming over to this country.
It seems unlikely that that's what they had in mind when they voted out from the European Union. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he can kiss his Ria goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another song I'm thinking of. There's Ken Dudley. Happiness.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. All right.
And they're all off to Rwanda on a plane.
Okay. Well, let's hope it's a one-way ticket. All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Titles for Liz Truss's new book: Trust Me, I'm a Tory. And Jim says, I am not a quitter. Oh, yeah. Go on, Liz. Please, we're begging you. Nick says that the Ladybird Book of National Bankruptcy. I know what my favourite is so far. It's the. I'll maybe if it's not beaten, then I'll just read it back out at the end of the show. Paul says, "What Quasi did without telling me." Yeah, not my fault. It was like that when I got here. She says. 0345 6060 973. Erith, Steve.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Jonathan spun me out a little bit. He's a bit. Yeah, my main reason, I missed the show yesterday. I had to get it off because people keep ringing in about these 8-legged things. Yeah. And the lady that started off, I thought, oh, that's all right, I won't have to ring and tell him. But she rang in to say, stop talking about it, and then continued to talk about it.
Yes.
So,
can we have a few fewer callers about insects, please?
It's like the weather, isn't it?
I don't mind talking about the weather. That's just fine.
Yeah, but we know it, don't we?
Yeah, well, we don't know it. I mean, that's the thing about British weather. You never know what you're going to get next. I mean, next week it's going to be a whole 10 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than it is at the moment. So you just can't predict. That's what the Met Office says.
Would you mind me not giving you advice as such? It's just like it works for me.
What's that?
Well, since COVID started and the masks started.
Yeah.
Well, when I get on a bus or a crowded space, I continue and have done to use that. And I know they say it's more about protection of others.
Yeah.
But I ain't suffered a cold or anything since I've kept my mask on.
Well, that's the thing. When the thing was around, I didn't have a single cold or a sniffle or a sneeze or anything. That's because I was keeping myself separate from other people. And now, coming in on the train, oh, God, everyone's coughing and sneezing and sniffing and...
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And when that... you was taught as a child to cough into your hand, but then you touch the poles and the rails, don't you?
Awful. Ugh. Horrible.
Disgusting.
Dreadful. Yeah. Well, don't touch anything, Steve, ever again, particularly on public transport. So get on and off without touching anything. See if you can do that.
I shall try.
Right, don't hold tight whatever you do.
I wish you the best of health, mate.
OK, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Kath says... No, read that. Steph says... Truth is the first casualty of war. Given the torrent of disinformation spouted by the Tory government, it would seem that they are at war with us, the electorate. Apart from that, it's all going tickety-boo. Go Team Rishi. I mean that literally. Please, just go. Wow, the mail was... it's just so much material in the mail today. Rishi Sunak has declared that he is all fired up to fight the next general election. Have you heard? I'll come to that in a minute. And there was also Mr. Blobby's column about Brexit and how great Brexit's going. It's just him that thinks it.
Brexit's going great.
Even he doesn't think that anymore. So I'll get to that as well. Plenty of material, don't you worry about that. Martin says, hi Nick, last night one of your callers said that if you shout at flies to get out, they go. This afternoon I was using my revitive machine. What's that? When a fly came buzzing around, I couldn't get up to get a fly spray or a paper to swat it with, so I shouted at it to get out, and to my amazement, it did. I still can't believe it worked. I'm waiting for another fly so I can try it again. I hope I'm not going mad, says Martin. Becky texts, you know the film Anne of 1,000 Days? No. When they make the film of the book, it would be Liz of 49 Days. The paucity of days means that the second doesn't have quite the ring of the first. Methinks, says Becky. Anne of 1,000 Days. Wow, that sounds great.
Boring.
No. It's a no from me. Car chases and explosions? No, I don't think so. So it's a definite no from me. Does Tom Cruise drive an actual motorbike off a real cliff? No? Then definitely not.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hot air.
H-O-T-A-I-R.
Titles for Liz Truss's new book. Callum says, The Queen and I, A Tale of Two Lizzes, and Trustpocalypse Now. Shane says, Confound the World in 40 Days. And Chris says, Only Fools and Mortgages. Keep them coming. 0345 6060 973. Liverpool, Vincent.
How are you, young Nick?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that fella's cash rate number again? I forgot it a couple of calls earlier. Hey, to be honest. Right. You're waiting for the spiders thing from Canada?
It's very difficult to hear what you're saying. What are you saying?
Can you hear us now, Nick?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. It was the fella with the cash point number, just in case, I don't want to get into the...
Yeah, no, that's long
It
gone.
was the fella who sent you the spider kit from Canada.
Is the fella from Canada who sent me the spider kit.
Well, have you got it yet?
Yeah, I've got it, yeah.
I'll keep up on you occasionally. What I want to talk about is the fella who escaped from Wandsworth. To be honest, he was a chef. And then after a couple of days, he was a SAS sniper, wasn't he? To be honest.
I don't get that. You sound very much like a listener with material.
Oh,
no. Stop with the jokes. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick.
Jan.
Hi. I hope you're better. You're feeling better, aren't you?
I'm feeling all right, but I sound terrible.
But it's not a cold.
I know. I think it's the it.
Oh, well, no, don't say.
The lurgy.
The lurgy.
The disease. Yeah.
Oh, Nick. Yeah, well, anyway.
It's been hanging around for like 2 weeks now, and I can't taste anything.
You know what? What about that new variant that's called? All I remember of it, I can't remember the code for it, but it's called BA.
I wouldn't
BA
be
something. The
I
new
wouldn't be
COVID
remotely
variant.
surprised if it was actually that. Yeah, but I don't think I can possibly be infectious anymore because I looked it up, and you are most infectious before you got any symptoms, which sounds like a pretty sneaky disease to me.
Yeah, and I think they're targeting the over 65s to have the together with the flu jab, and have they want to sort of do both together. And apparently, all kinds of places are going to be offering this the flu jab and this variant thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about.
Well,
that.
let me think about that.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, having just had it, that means I'm not going to have it again, right? So what do I need a jab for?
Oh, what? No, but this is a new variant.
Yeah, like I said, I just had it.
Oh, I see. You know you've had it.
No, I don't know I've had it, but I can't imagine it was anything else.
Oh, well, that's good then. So you're immunity boosted. Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, I was calling because there's so many things going on, and it's really picking which one is I think I'll focus on or bring into attention, because I was thinking today about what we're all being subject to with this government is a blitz, like wartime blitz of incompetence, which is bringing the country to, and it's not just. This has been going on. I mean, the Conservatives have been in power for 13 years, but it's been going on for a long time with the incompetence with those buildings. You know, the RAF, the RAF. You know, the aero concrete. And it's like the country's it's collapsing. You know, the NHS.
Literally. Literally
the,
and figuratively, this entire country is collapsing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're supposed to soldier on, but it's not just adults that soldier on, like in wartime.
Yeah.
It's children as well. You know, they say there could be up to 7,000 schools or even more that have got this RAF thing in it. And then, as not that long ago,
Are you saying RAF?
Well, that's what it's called, the aero concrete.
Yeah, rack.
Oh, is it rack? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't drink.
Imagine if you did.
All right, rack. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it's you know what I mean. The aero stuff.
Yeah. Well,
aero concrete.
Doesn't matter what you call it. It'll be coming to a building near you soon.
No, it's probably already here.
Yeah.
As well as they're saying that so it's not just schools. It's going to be all lots of public buildings.
Everything.
It could be so extensive that it's like the country's on imminent collapse, and then local.
Yeah, just in time for the Labour Party to take over, to get the blame for absolutely everything that has been wrought upon this great nation over the last 14 years by the Conservative Party.
But Nick, but with so many councils due to go bankrupt, borough councils due to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So my question is where is the money going to come from? So it's going to be like wartime or like with the COVID crisis. Right. The government printed money. I know you've covered this before, about I think with the cover
1.2 trillion pounds they magicked out of thin air, and they disappeared it. It was almost like a feat of prestidigitation.
But and also I think for the COVID, it's something like 460 billion. Extra money was printed to see the country through that crisis.
Where did it go? Nobody has any idea.
So, but where are they? Where's the money going to come from when this blitz when the blitz has really put us in a war situation?
They'll just magic it up out of nowhere, because that's what governments can do. Yeah, well, they don't actually print it. They'll just type some numbers on a screen and it will exist.
All right, so that's going to cause inflation or recession. It means we could get some fantastic inflationary figure. Hopefully, not like that South American country.
Just in time for the Labour Party to take over, to get all of the blame for everything that the Conservatives have done over the previous 14 years to this country. Yes, it's almost like the plan.
It's and then there's that problem of anyway, to me it's like we're in a war situation already, and it's just we're going to this. It can't be avoided. It's inevitable that there's going to be this collapse.
Yeah. Well, cheer up, dear. It might never happen. Oh no, that's right. It already has.
We're already on the path. and then,
as long as you don't stray off the path, Jan, everything's going to be fine. Don't you worry about a thing.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. No. But thanks for that. Yeah, Rishi Sunak is all fired up and he's ready to go. Rishi Sunak has declared that he's ready to fight the next general election. And he said it with those hurt puppy dog eyes and bounced in his chair like someone was yanking the strings of a Thunderbird puppet, and he was about as convincing as a real human being. I'm ready to go, he said. And I thought, great.
Bye-bye.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But that's not what he meant. The Mail reports that a string of recent setbacks, including but not limited to the school concrete crisis, a mountain of corruption you'd need crampons to scale, the tsunami of lies that accompany every appearance by a member of the regime, and which aren't fooling enough people enough for the time anymore, and two impending by-elections combined with Keir Starmer's persistent double-digit poll lead have led to dismay on Sunak's backbenches. They're dismayed. Don't you feel awfully sorry for them?
No.
So they come... Hang on. Wait a minute. Oh, God, when's this going to go? Anyway, I had to do something awful.
Disgusting.
Maybe I'll get through this without dying. Where was I? They're coming out with ever more desperate stuff. You know, bring back hanging, says one. Bring back national service, says another. Yeah, I've got one. Bring back Dad's Army. Bring back Roman amphitheatres and lions. I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't happening to us. At least they're not saying bring back Liz Truss. In other news, some of them are actually saying bring back Liz Truss.
Absolutely.
And there's always the cult members who yearn for the return of Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The delusion is strong with these people. Speaking to reporters while travelling to the G20 summit in India, Sunak said he was entirely confident he could win the election expected next year. Liar! Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure he's not entirely confident. I mean, I know he doesn't understand how to use a credit card, and he met a homeless person and asked him if he was in business. Reality doesn't seem to be a strong point, but he can't possibly be so untethered from the truth to be entirely confident that he's going to win the next election. Sunak said, we've got plenty of time between now and the next election. I'm not complacent. There's lots of work to do, but I'm entirely confident we can deliver for people. People. Well, which people? donors for the Conservative Party, friends of the regime, family members of ministers. Well, I share his certainty he can deliver for those people. He said, and I can tell you, certainly in Downing Street, we are fired up. Yeah, I'd love to see what a fired-up Rishi Sunak looks like. I mean, he doesn't appear as though he's been excited about anything but a spreadsheet and Prada's new shoe collection in his entire perfumed life. While admitting to frustration that the concrete row had overshadowed the start of the new parliamentary term, Fishy Sunak said that at least no privately educated child was in danger of being crushed by a collapsing building, so that's something to be proud of. He didn't say that, I made that up. What the government actually tweeted was, most schools unaffected, which isn't really better, is it? Most schools. You know, so parents of children who might get killed if their school is affected, do you feel lucky? Well, do you? It's like Russian roulette with your kids' lives. A new game all the family can play. Brought to you by the people that gave you the 999 lottery, where you call for an ambulance and see if you're still alive by the time it gets there. Place your bets. And so what's Fishy Sunak planning on recommending himself to the electorate with? Well, he pointed to recent falls in inflation and energy bills and an improvement in the UK's economic prospects as grounds for Tory optimism. Right. Falls in inflation have nothing to do with him, any more than the direction of the wind. Energy prices are still sky high for non-millionaires, and absolutely no one is feeling any improvement in their own economic prospects unless they're in the donor class. What's this man talking about? Has he ever spent time with what a reasonable person in the street would call a normal person? No. He said the very high... This is my favourite part. He said the, quotes, very high-quality people that he has brought into the Number 10 operation in recent weeks to take up key strategy and communications positions were hungry to win. High-quality people. I mean, I didn't put him down as a comedian, but good one, Fishy. High quality. Now he's trying to be Donald Trump without the charisma. You ain't got the charisma, Fishy. Totally great people. Everybody says so. Believe me. And what's Fishy doing now? Going to India to beg for a huge and tremendous trade deal. He's hoping to distract from his domestic difficulties by securing a bumper post-Brexit trade deal with India in the coming weeks, which will include a lot more Indian people coming over here, as that's a sticking point with the Indian government. And if we are taken to the cleaners by little old Australia and New Zealand when this government signed a ruinous trade deal with them, can you imagine what we'll have to give up when we sign a deal with mighty India? I mean, Sunak will be lucky not to lose his shirt. But then again, it wouldn't fit anybody, so they'll probably let him keep it. And if the Brexiters he's trying to attract voted to leave the European Union in the hope of seeing fewer white Europeans in their street, had it in mind that those Polish people would be replaced by people from India, then I am a knickerbocker glory with cream on top. And the backlash has started already, from within his own ranks. Home Secretary Cruella Braverman expressed concerns about the prospect of inviting... Oh, God, here I go again. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. This is awful. Where was I? Cruella Braverman. Something about her. Where is it? Oh, I've got totally off my stroke there. Oh, right. Cruella Braverman. Right, so he's over there trying to sign a deal with India. India says, well, you've got to accept a lot of our people coming over there. And Cruella Braverman said, not sure about that. She's got concerns about the prospect of inviting more migrants to Britain, in addition to the 1.2 million arrivals last year. And there's also been tensions with India over its lukewarm condemnation of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So what could possibly go right? I mean, it could only be worse if that melting candle David Frost was doing in the negotiations, instead of harumphing from the pages of the Daily Telegraph, delusions about everything's worse because he isn't in charge. Ugh. And over here, on the small issue of 13 years of Tory austerity, putting all of our lives in danger and getting killed in a collapsing building, the Prime Minister tried to assure parents over the rack concrete crisis by saying, we're providing lots of support to schools. And by support, he means actual supports, holding up the roofs with scaffolding poles. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Kilbride. Andy.
Hiya.
Andy.
What I say to you is that you say that the general election next year, is going to be. It's not all lost to the Tories. If you look at the election in Scotland in 2011, in January, February 2011, Labour were about 18 points ahead of the SNP. Yeah. Then a campaign happened, and Labour started going on about the coalition government and the cuts, and put a negative campaign. And what happened was people actually swung against Labour, and when they saw the SNP's campaign about what it did between 2007 and 2011, the SNP had about 90 promises in the manifesto. They kept about 80 of them. So when the SNP probed what it said for government, what they did with free prescriptions, cutting class sizes, with the finishing of the rebuilding the schools, people saw two choices: a positive SNP government or a negative Labour government is going to attack the UK government, rather than saying what they're going to do for Scotland, which Labour couldn't do. If you saw Ian Gray, Ian Gray was asked at Glasgow Central Station why Glasgow City Council opposing Tory cuts, and he hid in their coffee shop.
Right. See, I've got no idea really what you're talking about, Andy. I don't follow Scottish politics very closely. I don't follow British politics that closely either, because it's just too excruciating. But no, I don't think the next election is a sure thing either, and I would not be remotely surprised if the polls were flattering the position of the Labour Party, because I think that there is a certain reluctance among people to say that they will vote Tory these days, because I don't know, it's almost not the done thing. But I suspect that when it actually comes down to it, then there's a lot of people who are saying, oh no, I'm not going to vote Tory, not me, no. I think that they might do when it comes down to it, because they will be persuaded of the old untruths, the old fantasies about the Tories being the party that is safe with our money, or our money is safe with them, rather. Which is obviously not true, but, it's sort of been drilled into us that is the fact, Jack, but it ain't. But I suspect that the polls are somewhat flattering Labour at the moment, and Keir Starmer is going to have to move one way or the other. He's going to have to actually offer something of himself as a reason to vote Labour, rather than just standing there petrified in the headlights, not knowing which way to move. But thanks, Andy. 0345 6060 973. Daryl says, place your bets now. Which will end up being shorter? Nadine Dorris' resignation letter or the forthcoming book of achievements by ChatGPT Trust? Right. Hang on. Becky says, you know the film, and no, I read that. Adrian says, hang on. Oh, God. If this gets any worse, I'm calling an ambulance. Let's have Carnforth. Hey, Fanny.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. Are you feeling better?
No.
Oh, dear. Yeah, well, there is a very nasty lurgy about, which seems to be like a flu-type virus, because one of our carers was off, and she's only just come back after a couple of weeks, and she had a temperature for 10 days. Oh, yes. She did loads of COVID tests, and it wasn't COVID.
Right.
And then our gardener, who was supposed to come on Thursday, he rang up and said he'd got it as well. He's aching all over and his chest was really bad. Had to, go to bed. So it seems to be going around at the moment.
That's right.
So my advice, Nick, is to do what I do when I go out, which is very rare, but I've got to go to the hospital on Monday, which is a cauldron of viruses and bacteria and all things you don't want to get.
Yeah.
I will be wearing a visor, an FFP3 mask, and gloves.
No.
I'm afraid.
No, not me.
Well, I mean, if I got it, it would either flu or COVID. It would be really bad. I'd be really ill for ages.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it. But I do think we all ought to be at least wearing like the blue ones if there's loads of COVID and.
No, not doing
whatever
it. No, I ain't going back there again. No.
But the thing is, I think the government sort of have this attitude that it's finished now. I mean, it isn't finished because even very healthy, in inverted commas, people can be really ill with COVID, and it's just a lottery. You just never know. Some people don't even get symptoms. Other people can be really ill. Other people end up with long COVID.
Yeah.
And then they've been going on recently, I don't know whether you heard this in the news this week, about, there's so many people on sickness benefit and disability benefits. We're going to have to help them back into work, which we all know what that means. Cuts. Yes. So be very afraid if you're on disability benefits and be prepared to appeal and go to tribunal if necessary. Does it not occur to their tiny minds that there will be a lot of people out there who can't work after having COVID, who with long COVID? I mean, obviously there's degrees of it.
That question implies that they actually care about people, but I think that we both know that ain't true.
Oh, yes, no, they don't. They don't. But, so they're just kind of saying, they're just all a load of lazy layabouts. And
what occurs to me is that we have got away really easily with the COVID. I mean, I know it was dreadful and all, but it seems like it was as benign as a major pandemic could possibly be. I mean, it could have been one of those things that kills 30% of the people that get it, but it wasn't. It was very, very weak as far as pandemics go, and it doesn't seem to me like that's actually the end of it. If we live our lives and we don't get something much more serious than that, I think we'll have got away pretty much scot-free.
Well, except that probably over 200,000 people who died probably wouldn't.
No, that's right. But but the difference is it was only 1 in 100, something like that. If it had been, one of the more virulent and serious diseases that's possible to get, then it could have been 1 in 3.
What, you mean like the Black Death? Or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all living close together, all hugger-mugger, sharing public transport and all other ways in which we're all very, very close. It seems like we've got off pretty easily so far.
In some ways, although, other epidemics of things like flu haven't had the massive amount of people who've been so ill afterwards, like with long COVID, obviously takes a while to recover from flu, but not years.
No.
I mean, there are still people out there 2.5 years later with long COVID. It's quite serious.
Yeah,
well, it's really serious.
I'm not diminishing its seriousness, but what I'm saying is it could have been much worse, and it is entirely possible that it will be something that is, the next thing coming around might make COVID look like a picnic. Here, Anna, got to go. Annie, thanks for that. 0345 6060 973 LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yeah! Dude! Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
It's about a death bat. Adrian texts, I have a death bat. They are great. Have you noticed the smell when you get them? This is the death bat that takes, clothes moths right out of the air. The smell, yeah, it's awful. He says, I love the smell of burning flies in the morning. It smells like victory. Peter says it's conkers for repelling moths and cloves to repel spiders. I've had no moths for the past 4 years and very seldom have a spider. I'm pretty sure that's the wrong way around. Conkers for repelling moths? No, I don't think so. And cloves, I've got no idea about that. I thought it was conkers. Anyway, we don't want to talk about insects anymore. Stop talking about insects. 0345 6060 973. Let's have John O'Groats. Christian.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Christian.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I just trying to chew the fat, really. I've not really much to say.
Chew the fat?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, let me say it again. I'm doing fine.
Lovely. Yeah, to be fair, actually, mate, I just phoned up to...
chew the fat, yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, and put down the Tories, man, but you've done a pretty good job of that before I phoned.
All right, okay, so job done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Steve texts, good Abend, Nick. Did you know that it's illegal to kill a wasp in Germany? Another reason to rid ourselves of the shackles of EU membership, don't you think? I, however, as a proud expat Imperial Britisher, use my God-given exceptionalism to swat the little things whenever they come near my beer. It's illegal to kill a wasp in Germany. I don't believe you. Tristan says, what's the difference between rack and rab? One's weak and full of air and needs replacing, and the other is a type of concrete.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory. I don't support the Human Rights Act, and I don't believe in economic and social rights. My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
I believed you the first time. 0345 6060 973. So Boris Johnson has got a column in the Mail. And if I was the person in the Mail who had given him what I imagine is a high six-figure salary for writing that column once a week, I'd be pulling my hair out because, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be putting much effort into it. So it was about Brexit today. He says, we need to remember, and this Brexit government needs to remind the world, what Brexit has already done. Yes, it was because we were out of the EU that the UK felt able to go faster than the European Medicines Agency, so that this was the first country in the world to put a licensed and effective COVID vaccine into somebody's arm. Being in or out of the EU would have made no difference. There's no rule that says a country cannot deliver whatever medicines it likes when it likes. I mean, it's hard to believe that he's still lying about this. It's been disproved so many times that a person who possesses shame would have stopped saying it by now. But he seems to be phoning in his new column for the Mail, so I suppose new material's off the menu. He said, yes, it was because we were out of the EU that we were able to risk the wrath of other partners and do the far-sighted AUKUS Defence Pact with the United States and Australia. Is that the same... hang on. Oh, God, hang on a minute. Yes, I'm doing fine. I'll be lucky to make it to 1. Have that ambulance on standby. He said, yes, it was because we were out of the EU we were able to risk the wrath of our other partners and do the far-sighted AUKUS Defence Pact with the United States and Australia. And is that the same AUKUS Pact that 2 years later has still not been passed into legislation by America? It's still being held up by Congress. And it's only for 3 US-made subs, after which the Australians will make their own. And typically the design is British, but we aren't making them. Boris Johnson says, and yes, it was because we were outside the EU that we were able to take a lead in backing Ukraine with military support, a foreign policy area that had mysteriously subcontracted while in the EU to France and Germany, which is a total fabrication. I mean, we could have done anything we wanted to help Ukraine in or out of the EU. And what we did more than any other country in Europe, it seems to me, was cozy up to the Russians. I mean, the ruling party accepted their money and dragged their feet on sanctioning them. I mean, we're still dragging our feet now. And who was at the epicenter of that whirlpool of Russian money?
I can't comment on that.
He says, it is thanks to the proper Brexit delivered with such huge effort by this Conservative government that we're now able to do things differently in fields from finance to bioscience. We have done something brave and remarkable and right. And you know what? Whenever a Tory says that they have done the right thing, it means they're trying to convince you that up is down. It's a warning bell of misinformation coming your way. Brexit wasn't brave and remarkable and right. It was foolish and incredible and wrong. He said time after time, I mean, he really is scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Time after time, our Olympians show the world that we excel in all sorts of sports. With a population of only 0.84% of the world, we come behind only America or China in the table of medals. Very, very easy to look that up. And, of course, that's not true either. At the last Olympics, we came behind the US, China, Japan and Australia. And 20% of the medals we won were for cycling, on which we cynically concentrated our money to the expense of other sports because there were more medals to be won in cycling than anything else. And if you really want to compare us in population size, we were beaten by Australia, which has a population 1/3 the size of ours. How can one man be so wrong about absolutely everything? Even his fans in the Daily Mail have deserted him. Because cast your eyes down, and when I looked this afternoon, these were the top-rated comments. Boris also said that by leaving, we have enough to give the NHS £350 million a week and we'll be able to control our own borders. 3 exclamation marks. He's a laugh after all. ... Like Boris, Brexit has been a failure. The second top comment was the worst PM this country's ever had, and the most top-rated comment, he's still as delusional as ever. He'll be dressing up as Napoleon next.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
They hate you, Bodger. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Cornwall. Malcolm.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Malcolm.
Nick, how are you, sir? Hey, it's worse than you outlined. I was just reading while waiting to come on that Sunak was expecting a meeting with Modi in his grand house.
Oh, yeah. Whose grand house?
Sunak was hoping to meet Modi for a photo op in Modi's grand house or palace. But Sunak was cancelled and Joe Biden was invited instead.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is a little lesson. You know, we're not that big a country. I mean, in the EU, we had a lot of heft and weight behind us, but now we're out. We're just this tiny island of relative insignificance, bobbing around on our own, desperate to try and make friends, and our desperation precedes us. So, you know, people are a bit loath to hang out with people who appear desperate.
Well, the article said exactly that Britain has slipped right down the pecking order.
Yeah.
Nick, a couple of few very, very quick things. Poor, what's his name, in Harrow, or your man in Harrow.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Harrow.
He didn't, what was it, the phrase the other fellow said? He didn't phase me out, or whatever it was. He had me running into the bathroom for a tissue. Jonathan. He
I don't know who you're talking about. Who are you talking about?
Jonathan from Harrow spoke to you about half an hour or more ago. And he was saying about Blair and the Tories.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him saying he voted for the Brexit and he voted for the Tories twice. And now he's almost bankrupt.
Yeah.
There's a moral to that story.
I guess so,
You don't vote Conservative if you want to hold on to your money.
Not these days, no.
The pension lock thing, the Tories are spreading it around. They're using all the keys to figure out the pension increase next April. And it appears that it's already been decided, and it's going to be 8.2%. And it's the wage increase, the average wage increase.
Right.
So in a year, Nick, well, let's call it a year and a day, because it's one increase day to the next increase day, so a year and a day.
Yeah.
So pensioners will have received an increase of over 18% in a year.
They still won't be earning very much money. I mean, the state pension in this country is abysmally small.
And I can vouch for that because I'm a teacher, and the teachers' pensions have the same raises. So, yeah. And as you say, it isn't a huge amount. And then Liz Truss's book. There's about 4 months in age between you and me. We were both born in 1960.
Yeah.
And there was a famous joke which you'll remember, and it was the most amazing use of the F word in a sentence. And the sentence was uttered by, famously, allegedly by a mayor, the captain of a ship, and various others, and quite possibly by Boris Johnson. And the title of the book and the sentence is, "What the F was that?"
Right. Oh, right,
Talking about Liz Truss's period in office.
Okay.
As brilliant as it was.
Well, thanks for tiptoeing around those...
that's my effort.
Yeah, all right, good work. Thanks a lot, Malcolm. 0345 6060 973. Possible titles for Liz Truss's book. Mark says, From Cheese Lover to World Leader. Liz Truss, Brie, B-R-I-E, breezing into number 10. And also, Crazy Horses. Liz Truss's wild ride in politics. Crazy Horses. I like it.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
Yeah, it's a radio show, dear. 0345 6060 973. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick.
Ranjit.
Okay. You know, I'm mindful that, I can't use builder's language, but a title for Liz Truss's book, yeah? No, I'm very careful. Yeah. Remember the Austin Powers film, The Spy Who Blip?
Yes.
Me, yeah? So we could say The Letters Who Blip Me.
Blipped us.
Yeah, that's the one. And the other one is just simple... 44 days.
Was it 49?
Oh, 49 days, and, that was it, yeah.
What's 5 days between friends?
Oh, my God. You know what? Rishi Sunak is still telling lies from, 4,500 miles away.
Well, he says he's convinced he's going to win the next general election, which is, I mean, that's just funny.
I think if I had one wish in the world, it would have been this weekend, right? To be a fly on the wall, right? Pardon the pun that you don't want to talk about insects, yeah? No. Right? To be what Rishi Sunak, when he went to India, what he was asking for, yeah? He would have gone, Uncle Narinda, how are you? I've made you guys very proud to produce an... not in that accent, not in my black country accent.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It is. And he went, oi, boy, shut up, like what Jonathan would say, yeah, shut up. You're not doing very good, mate. Up there, you're not doing very well. So I'm not talking to you, and as one of your callers just said, I'm talking to Joe Biden. That should tell.
Well, that's where the money is. I mean, of course he's going to talk to Joe Biden, and of course Joe Biden is going to talk over Rishi Sunak's head because we are relatively insignificant. And of course America wants to do a deal with Europe more than it wants, or the EU rather, more than it wants to do a deal with us. In our desperation, we're clinging to this idea that we have a special relationship with America. No, we don't, other than they tell us what to do and we do it.
And this is his last roll of the dice, yeah, because he was hoping for a trade deal with India, yeah. I've been listening all day and for months and years, yeah, when people keep on talking about overseas aid to India, they're sending a rocket to the sun, yeah?
Yeah.
To the rednecks, yeah? To the rednecks, yeah? What about when Tata just had £500 million just to keep the steelworks in Wales, yeah? And then with Jaguar Land Rover and loads of other companies. Why don't the rednecks talk about that? Right? The problem with the rednecks is, right, oh, God, we've got immigrants coming again. Well, the immigrants that you're going to get are probably going to be doctors and nurses, yeah, who are going to buy off your National Health Service. Why don't you talk about that?
I'm not sure that that the doctors and nurses are going to be that desperate to come here. I mean, India is going gangbusters. It's doing really well. I mean, can we offer them something they can't get there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're going to get a tsunami of.
No.
Well, go on.
Nick, because obviously, my parents came from the Punjab in India, yeah? A lot of the people up there, I was there earlier this year, they're going to Canada, America, New Zealand, Australia, right? They're saying, come on over, mate, you know what, you've got your qualifications. Here, you come here, you get abused by Cruella Braverman, whatever her name is, you know what I mean? And you know what, she should look in the mirror one day and just think, listen, when you're walking down the street and no one knows who you are, you're still going to get called the P word.
Well, it does seem a bit bizarre to me that she is trying to ingratiate herself with the kind of person that would usher her on to a plane to Rwanda. I mean, they're not going to make a distinction. She's going to be on the plane along with everybody that she is personally putting on there. I mean, I don't know what's in her mind that she think, oh, not me. They
Well, like when these people say, well, Nick, I've got no problem with you as a LBC presenter. You're okay. It's all the others I don't like. That's the kind of language that she's probably listened to all of her life, yeah? And she's become one of those people. And the thing is, when Keir Starmer says, look, it's a bunch of cowboys, well, I'm sorry, it's a bunch of Indians at the moment, mate. That's going to be looking at ruling this country. And it's not looking good for Rishi Sunak because India will not leave Russia. They will always stand by him. And if you go back into history, right, there was a time when India and Pakistan were at war, right, created obviously by the British when they left. Everybody sent their navy into the Indian Ocean, and then Russia had sent their fleet in to protect India. For that reason, India's going to be loyal always to Russia, Nick, yeah? And that's where the money is at the moment, because Boris Johnson knew, let's back Putin, I will get in, we will come out of Europe, right? And then obviously Putin has done a smash and grab, right? And he's double crossed everybody. He's double crossed Trump. He double crossed Boris Johnson, and now you got BRICS, which is going to be the new up and coming economy, yeah. And that's where we've fallen down, I think, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Nick, about that. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia, South Africa.
Right. I mean, if only we were a member of a large trading bloc, then we would have some heft and weight and power to throw around. But unfortunately, we decided that's not a very good idea, that we're British, damn it, and the rest of the world will do what we say in our minds. But, in the real world, it doesn't work out like that.
We've got the stiff upper lip. You know what it is? You've got to watch some of the Carry On films, like Carry On Up the Jungle, Carry On Up the Khyber and that, right? And this is the kind of keystone politicians that we got now, right? Rishi Sunak, yeah? He's going round to India and saying, look, I'm son of India, mate. You know what? They're saying, shut up, boy.
I really don't think that matters in as far as negotiating with a country is concerned, where you actually come from as a person. No. All right, Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks for the history lesson. 0345 6060 973. Titles for Liz Truss's book. Eric says, Bonfire of the Sanities. Steph texts, Liz in Blunderland. Alice in Wonderland. Get it? Liz in Blunderland. That's pretty good. Debbie says, Made Britain Break Again. Keep them coming. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. And the phone number 0345 6060 973. Rebecca texts, ultrasonic pest repellents are fab. What's an ultrasonic pest repellent? She says, I've plugged them in all the rooms. Very few bugs can tolerate them. I don't know what that is. Liz says, so 13 years of hard work and getting out of the hole just for Labour to come along with their left ideologies and wreck it all. How about you stay away, stammer, and leave it to the grown-ups, says Liz. Very hard to tell tone, but I assume you're joking. I fear you're not. James says, Foreign Secretary Dominic Dekche was on holiday in a luxury Crete hotel as Kabul fell and was overrun by the Taliban. Secretary of State for Education Gillian Bloomin Keegan was on holiday in Spain as schools were crumbling and falling down on our children. And Prime Minister Slippery Sunak was on holidays in Los Angeles as the country's public services were collapsing with nothing working. Do you think this is the new norm and we can all go on our holidays during the next business crisis like our political leaders? Absolutely, James. Just for them, the specials. Monica says, I don't really need the triple lock increase, so I'll donate it to the Labour Party. If all us socialist pensioners do this, and there's more of us than you think, the Tories will be funding the opposition. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a plan, Monica. And Aisling says, when you said empty vessel, I genuinely didn't know whether it meant barge or we were still talking about Liz Truss. Ladbroke Grove. Hello, Olive.
Hi, hello.
Olive.
Pursuit of Oblivion.
Pardon?
The book title, Pursuit of Oblivion. Sorry.
Pursuit of Oblivion.
Of Oblivion.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We're just trying to help here.
Yeah, and I don't know. That was really interesting hour. You know, I haven't been watching the news or reading papers for years.
Yeah.
And just recently, you know, I just turned on the radio, and past few days I've been listening LBC, and this past couple of hours were extraordinary. You know, I just like from spiders to
you
so
can't believe your ears. I understand.
Hey, let me tell you something. You know, I live around the corner from David Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
And he tends to come to our local Tesco's with 2 bodyguards.
David Cameron shops at Tesco's?
Yeah, he does, believe it or not.
Well, not. What does he buy? Have you ever peeked in his basket?
No, I wasn't following him. I mean, he always lived here, so... You know, but then he puts them, you know, in front of the door, and the 2 of them are standing there while he's around with his basket, you know, like whatever.
So he carries his own stuff?
Well, he doesn't do it too often, and it's a small basket. It's only Tesco Express.
Right. And does he actually carry his stuff home, or does he have his people do that?
I have to say, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that.
Well, keep your eyes peeled, Olive, because I want a full report.
I'll do that. If something interesting comes up, I'll let you know next time.
Let me know straight away. Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, Olive. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Is that the end of the text? Wow, I am way ahead of myself. Normally I have like about 10 pages of text I don't manage to get to. Extraordinary. Tom says, I got 3 left. Tom says, I live in Jeremy Corbyn. Wow, there were like more celebrity spy reports. I live in Jeremy Corbyn's ward in Islington, and I haven't seen a wasp, spider, or moth all week. Do you think there's a connection? No. Martin says, Rishi is fired up and ready to go. He's 100% on it. He's ready to rumble. He'll put the man back into manly. The man back into manly.
I am totally 100% on it.
Yeah. Leave it to him. And Mike texts, dropped on your radio by accident. I love your views, even being a Pole. Always loved arguments with locals about Brexit and foreigners. After being in a country for 17 years, and I do call some people foreigners, but what I'm not getting is why people don't understand that Brexit was such a mistake and not all foreigners are foreign. Some people just take populists' views too easy. Well, some of that made sense. Not all foreigners are foreign. Well, what are they then?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I am not
one of your fans!
0345 6060 973. Ollie says, why aren't you talking about our brilliant royal family? We're the envy of the world. I bet Americans would love to have William or Charles as their head of state, and don't talk to me about the French. We could give them Jeremy Clarkson or David Beckham. They all wish they was English, says Ollie. Pretty much every other word in that was misspelled. Again, difficult to tell with tone. I assume you're joking, Ollie. Manchester. Hello, Stephen.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I think the last time we talked was the night Ronaldo signed for United, and we were both quite shocked.
I missed what you just said there. What was that?
I think the last time we talked was Ronaldo signed for United, and we were both kind of shocked. And then we both kind of said, that's not going to work out. That
really doesn't sound like anything that happened on this show, but okay then.
No, seriously, we talked about football. Honestly, we did.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like a Tory.
Yeah. Kind of like a Tory? What does that mean?
Well, I'm kind of not like anymore, but I've just had enough of this lot. I mean, every day I wake up, this thing with this guy escaping the other day, the barges, the boats, the National Health Service. I mean, it's like, honestly, I really want to swear, but I'm not going to.
It's like one thing after the other.
It's like comical, mate.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about it? I mean, do we rise up like the Parisians and stuff like that?
No, that's not the British way.
English.
We'll grin and bear it, is what we'll do.
So what's going to happen, Nick? Come on. Because you are the sayer of
the oracle.
Truth.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say an oracle. Sayer of truth.
I would not be remotely surprised if the next general election was postponed for our safety. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but
I've got a feeling. Nick.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a feeling the Tories aren't going to win the next election. I think I'm going to use the word fudge, not something else.
Yes.
They're fudging it up so much that when the Labour Party take over, and forget reform, stuff like that, because it's like, it's localised, isn't it? You know,
and irrelevance.
Irrelevant, right. I've got a feeling they're going to fudge. I said fudge there, not something else.
Yeah, I get it.
They're going to fudge it up so much that Labour can have a bit of a problem.
Yes, they will have a problem, because they will not be able to fix any of the problems.
Talk to me about that then, Nick. How are they going to sort that
the
out?
Labour Party is not going to be able to fix any of the issues that have been left for them by 14 years of Tory misrule in their first term. The problem that they'll have is that every right-wing outlet is going to be blaming Labour for the state of the country the second they win the election, assuming that that's what happens.
Exactly, yes.
And so they'll be pummeling them for 5 years continuously. So I would not be surprised if Labour only had one go at it, that they will lose the subsequent election.
Here's the thing with British politics at the moment, Nick, because all these MPs get in for 5 years. They just look after 5-year careers. They don't look after what's going on in 10 or 15 years.
Unfortunately, that's true, Short-termism.
Now, who doesn't want nuclear power stations in this country. But if he, when he was in coalition, Clegg made a decision with Cameron and said, let's have some nuclear power stations, we wouldn't have this power problem now.
The short-termism is what will do for mankind, but it's also what will do for...
how are we going to get away from short-termism?
Yeah, well, we'll need a benign dictator.
They're only employed for 5 years, and that's that. And it's like, I'll go and work for some cigarette company or something like that, or some vaping company.
Yes.
So how are we going to get away from that, Nick? Come on,
benign dictator... stop speaking and let me answer.
Well, I'm trying to not speak.
A benign dictatorship is what we need. Now, I'm kind of joking about that, but if we could pick the right person and they had a plan, then that's exactly what we need. Because this short-termism is not doing us any favours.
You're not sending to bed tonight with any hope, Nick.
Right. Well, I'll just mark you down as another unsatisfied customer. All right. Thanks a lot, Stephen. 0345 6060 973. Lewis texts as a possible title for the new Liz Truss book, The Trustanic, How the Iceberg Lettuce Brought Me Down. I think that's that's getting a bit desperate. Austin says, the 49 missteps. Francis said, let's pretend this never happened. The courage to be disliked is another. All very good, but I know what my favourite is at the moment, and I'll say it again at the end of the show, unless it is usurped. Hey, I've run out of both texts and calls. Can you believe that? I don't think this has ever happened before. And just when I'm finding it most difficult to speak. Yeah, thanks a lot, people. So I could talk about Germany, because the right-wing press has been having a little giddy dance about Germany, as they're calling it, the sick man of Europe. And so I did some homework and compared Germany to this country. Or I could talk about offshore wind farm fail. They had just had a government auction, which was a giant failure. Maybe I'll talk about that. Because a lot of people are very down. It seems weird that that this is a matter of being woke is liking wind farms. I think they actually look very, very attractive, particularly offshore. And no new offshore wind farms are going to go ahead in the UK after the latest government auction in what critics have called the biggest clean energy policy failure in almost a decade. I mean, it's almost as though the government is prioritising the oil and gas industry.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, you still got that the wrong way. None of the companies hoping to build big offshore wind farms in the UK waters took part in the government's annual auction, which awards contracts to generate renewable electricity for 15 years at a set price. Now, the companies had warned ministers repeatedly that the auction price was set too low. Too low for offshore wind farms to take part after costs in the sector soared by about 40% because of inflation across their supply chains. But the government didn't listen to them. Or it did listen to them and ignored them anyway. They confirmed on Friday that only 3.7 gigawatts of new clean energy projects secured a contract. That's compared with 11 gigawatts in the previous auction. Now, I don't know what a gigawatt is, but it sounds like something very serious. An absence of a giant new offshore wind farms is going to make the UK's climate targets far more difficult to achieve. No new wind. I mean, I know a shill from a suite of dodgy think tanks is going to be delighted.
Absolutely.
Because wind is woke. The Labour Party said the government's energy security disaster means the UK is going to miss out on billions in investment and may also push up bills for hard-working households. Industry insiders said the three biggest offshore wind developers in the UK, SSE, Scottish Power and the Swedish company Vattenfall, were forced to sit out the bidding after ministers refused to heed their warnings. It's just like, you know, what would Donald Trump do every time with this lot? Donald Trump would say that he knows best.
I know a lot about wind. A lot about wind.
Gives you cancer and it's terrible for our country. The industry had consistently called on the government to take higher costs into account by adjusting the auction's maximum price. But the government said, no, we know a lot about wind. Keith Anderson, the chief executive of Scottish Power, said this is a multi-billion-pound lost opportunity to deliver low-cost energy for consumers and a wake-up call for the government. We all want the same thing, to get more secure, low-cost, green offshore wind built in our waters, he said. You know, I don't think that... Oh, God, hang on. Wait a minute. Just one moment. God, when's this thing going to go? It's getting boring now. I don't think that is actually what the regime wants at all. Low-cost, secure, green offshore wind. I mean, think about it. They took £3.5 million from fossil fuel-related businesses as a donation to the Tory party. And as any fool know, the best way to make a return on your investment is to make a donation to the Conservative Party. It's the route to riches. Your lordship.
I can't comment on that.
Blah, 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 blah. So, I don't think I can... I can't go on with that. It's just too excruciating. Greenpeace described the outcome to the latest auction as the biggest disaster for clean energy policy in the last 8 years, because it risked jeopardising the UK's plan to triple its offshore wind power capacity by 2030 and cast doubt on Britain's climate targets. But, you know, as Greenpeace is full of woke, liberal, activist lefties who care about things, no one was remotely interested in anything they had to say. Got through it, more or less. 0345 6060 973. Havering. Martin.
How are you?
All right.
I've got 3 points now to discuss now after listening to that.
Yes.
So the first one is, I only called up because you said you were struggling with your voice, so I was trying to help you out.
Thanks.
Secondly, we've just finished playing in Loughton, so we had a good gig with a band.
Oh, yeah.
And then thirdly, what was you was just talking about? I haven't done any research, so you can help me out. So if something's getting charged by electric, like an electric car, and it's getting charged by these diesel generators or whatever, you know, is that still green? Is that carbon zero or zero, whatever it is?
If a car is being charged with a diesel generator...
Yeah, so, you know, you've got these, like, plant and whatever. You've got lots of, like, tractors and electric tractors that are then being charged by these diesel generators.
Right. Well, it doesn't sound very green to me.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is that part of this, if everyone goes electric? 'Cause my brother's just bought an electric car, and he's forever going and trying to find somewhere to charge it. And different varying prices, which I think that are just going to get higher and higher and higher the more demand there is, coming closer to 2030, which will be interesting to see how much it costs later on in life.
I was walking up towards Hampstead Heath from Southend Green, and I saw on the pavement something I'd never seen before. On one road, I mean, it's like, you know, people are super well off who live up there. But they had put, and it must have been the council, they put in the pavement, completely flat with the pavement so you can walk on it, they looked like charging points.
They've got to, like, pop up and put the lead in?
I guess so, yeah. I didn't see anybody actually using one, but they were in the pavement, and it was a car's distance all the way up the road on both sides of the street. What a brilliant idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think about that as well. But how do we generate all this power that makes it green? Because it's all well and good saying that it's zero emissions of a car because we're not driving it and it's using electric, and it's not using electric at that time, is it?
But if
it is to, you know, how is it getting electric to it?
Exactly.
I don't see how it works out.
Right, unless it is green energy that's being produced by something like an offshore wind farm. But apparently the government isn't that keen on actually, you know, making a success of it.
Yeah. Did you watch that? Do you know Guy Martin, the TT racer guy who does a few programs? He's built like a Spitfire or whatever, but he did an energy program, and it was wind, water, and what was it? I think it was wind, water, and nuclear, and he was sort of discussing all these different things, and wind was just like a minuscule part of where all this energy comes from. It was tiny compared to the nuclear or whatever that we need, or the fossil fuels. It was just there wasn't anything near what we needed to create any kind of surplus. And if we're going to do this no cars by 2030 and the electric cars are going to be more and more and more, they're still going to the demand is going to be overwhelming. I think. I don't see how it's ever going to work.
Well,
I think it's a bit of a wrong one to do to say 2030, you know.
Well, I seriously doubt that any we're setting a date that's so far ahead of time for a government achievement is pointless, because the current regime aren't going to be, even if they win the next general election, the same people aren't going to be in power when 2030 comes around. So you might as well just ignore everything they say in that regard. But I'm just looking at the mix of power that's going from the national grid right now. And wind is 8.6%.
Yeah, I get that. And look at how many we've got. I mean, it's to increase that by to get. I mean, how many have we got? How many is that? Say that's 1,000 wind turbines going around the country, and that's 8%. So we'll need to double that to get 16%.
Yeah.
And we haven't even reached.
But the thing is, it's not very windy. I mean, and it's still at 8.6% right now, and there's no
we
wind
haven't
out
got
there.
to any kind of demand, though, have we? Really?
There's
not. What's going to happen? Well, so say everybody then gets an electric car in 2030. So we've got 7 years to get to that, or and then the other ones, the petrol ones.
They've got a lot of work to do. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, mate. Solar power at the moment is 0. That's logical because the sun's not out. Nuclear 22%, biomass 4%, gas 57%. So we've got to get off the gas and get more wind power, I would suggest. Because if at the moment, when there's barely a breeze and it's still making 8.6% of the power that we're using at this minute, right now, I'm looking at the live national grid feed, then that's not bad. 8.6%. When the wind does kick up, then it is often the biggest source of electricity that we've got in this country. So it does work. I think they are a beautiful looking thing, whether they're particularly out to sea, but I think on land as well. Not every corner of this country is so beautiful that it cannot be improved with the benefit of a turbine. When you see a turbine, it's not just because I think they're actually good-looking things; they're well designed, but you also get that sort of warm feeling of it's practically free energy and it's completely renewable, and you feel positive about that. Unless it's being put anywhere near you live, and in which case you would like to raise a finger of complaint.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
Central London, Vanessa.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Vanessa.
I'm ringing because I'm concerned about your health.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you considered that it could be hay fever, because this time of the year, hay fever is really bad. It's like having a terrible, terrible cold or flu. And you could just pop into a pharmacy tomorrow and have a word with them about it.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it is. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't suffer from hay fever, and it doesn't feel like hay fever. To be honest, it feels like, from what I've read about the new strain, it feels like Yes,
a
thing.
Dear.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I thought this might be an answer to your prayers.
Right. Well, I haven't been praying because I don't think that would be appropriate. But I think it's got to be on the way out. I mean, I've had it for like 2 weeks now.
Oh, that's a mint. Well, I used to have hay fever for about 4 months.
Really?
Yes, really, and it can be awful and make you feel dreadful.
But I don't really feel bad. I just sound bad.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Which is, not great if you're a talk show host.
No, not really.
Not really, no.
No, it isn't. Oh, I'm sorry then. I can't be of any help to you.
Well, at least you tried.
I have, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Vanessa.
Soon.
Cheers. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Tamworth. David.
Nick.
Yes, sir.
These death bats. Do you think they'll work on all the visiting MPs to Tamworth constituency?
MPs in the Tamworth constituency? I don't know. How big are they?
Well, no, just all the ones for the by-election.
Oh, normal-sized people, right?
Yeah, so we've already had Jess Phillips the other day in the town square.
Oh yeah.
So
how did that go?
I don't know. It wasn't really that well publicised. I just put it on local news. Right. But I'm hoping the last by-election Tamworth had was in 1996 when it was called South East Staffordshire.
Yeah.
And there was a guy, I think there were about 10 or 12 candidates, and a guy called News Bunny was arrested live on television on local news, Central News or Midlands Today, as it is in Tamworth, and was put in the police car. And then all you saw was this great big bunny hand covering his mouth, like
right.
The expression of oh dear, these great big eyes.
Well,
be honest,
I like the sound of that.
It's the funniest piece of television that, it's in my top 10.
Right.
That was ever covered. So.
Well, I think we should give the bunny a shot. I mean, the Tories keep providing us with this parade of inadequates. I mean, how bad could it possibly be? Let's give a bloke in a bunny suit a go.
I would, because personally, I don't see from 1997 when the Labour lot got in under Blair, I don't see that same momentum at all.
Right. You're using the word momentum there.
No, I'm not using that. Sorry,
right.
in that respect.
In that respect, right.
Yeah. But
so you can't really see the same improving trajectory that we had under the Blair-Brown administration.
I remember that election. I actually worked in that election.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember it very, very well.
Yeah,
and
I remember it too. The things can only get better. The sun was coming up, and God, it felt like a brand new dawn, didn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, up the road, up the West Coast main line, you've got Litchfield, where Michael Fabricant and his nice hair.
Is that what that is?
Their council went Labour for the first time in, I don't know, 40 years or something like that. I might be wrong with that. It might have been longer. And that had a Labour landslide at their council election in 96. And I'm just not getting the same sort of vibe with it all.
No. I mean, people say, and I'm really tired of getting the phone call that says, well, never mind about the Tories, wouldn't be better under Labour, would it? It could possibly be better under Labour. It has in the past been better under Labour. It's just that people have really, really short memories.
Yeah, we live in a funny sort of country where some people are obsessed with how much the house is worth.
Yeah. To the exclusion of all else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's look what we've done for you sort of thing, and then the other end, it's oh God, no, I don't want to pay for that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's a short list. I probably won't be able to get through this at all, being as how I'm running out of time. But a short list of some of the things that were achieved under the Blair-Brown era. 3 million more NHS operations carried out every year, 44,000 more NHS doctors, 89,000 more NHS nurses, shortest waiting NHS time since records began, a guarantee to see an NHS cancer specialist within 2 weeks, 100 new NHS hospital building schemes completed, 900,000 pensioners lifted out of poverty, 12 million pensioners receiving winter fuel allowance, free TV licences for the over 75s, 20 million invested in bringing social housing to decent standards, 2/3 reduction in rough sleeping, 3,500 Sure Start children's centres opened, with 2.8 million children and families engaged, free nursery places for every 3 and 4-year-old, double the number of childcare places to 1.3 million. New Deal helped over 2.2 million people into work, 42,000 more teachers, 123,000 more teaching assistants, 89,000 more school support staff, 3,700 schools rebuilt and refurbished, the Building Schools for the Future programme, cancelled by the Tories. Peace in Northern Ireland through the joint peace process, reduced crime by 36%, increased police officer numbers by 17,000 and 16,000 police community support officers, eventual overall increase of 110% per pupil funding in real terms, free admission to national museums and galleries, and ensured the UK had more offshore wind capacity than any other country in the world. But apart from that, what had the Labour Party ever done for us?
It's the SCS interest-free boost weekend with up to 4 years interest-free credit instead of 3. Right now, save over 50% on the Clyde sofa at only $489. That's just £10 a month with a £9 deposit this weekend. And sink your feet into a new carpet with free fitting. Offers end 11th of September. SCS, helping create the home you love. Credit subject to minimum spend, free fitting subject to minimum purchase and selected underlay. Conditions apply. 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 Conditions apply.